What's up, guys? My name is Eric Hopkins, and welcome to the Gelcast. This is my Monday Night Raw recap show for May 22nd, 2017. The show started out with Bray Wyatt coming out to the ring to open up the night, and he cut a promo about how he was the only man on the WWE roster who could slay the beast, Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns then come out to interrupt him, and Wyatt says he's the only one who can beat Lesnar, but Reigns says that's not going to happen because he's going to be the one getting the Universal title shot at Extreme Rules. And then Raw General Manager Kurt Angle interrupts next and says he's impatient, so he wants to see Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt right now. And then Kurt Angle orders a referee to come out and ring the bell. I actually thought the promo here by Bray Wyatt was much better than his normal promo. A lot of times it seems like Bray Wyatt kind of just goes through the motions, but it seems like he showed a lot more passion here and a little bit more desire to be the top guy here on the show, it felt like. And it sounded like his promo had a clear direction, as he was angling it right at Brock Lesnar at times and the other participants in this Fatal 5-Way at Extreme Rules. So I really liked how it just seemed like it wasn't just, the standard, I'm the eater of worlds, blah, 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 stuff that really has no meaning. I liked it when he actually addresses the competitors he's going up against. So then we had Roman Reigns defeating Bray Wyatt via disqualification. The match just went on until Samoa Joe's music hit. He comes down to the ring. Then Joe gets in the ring and looks back and forth between Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns. Then he locks Roman in the Coquina Clutch. And then Joe locks the hold on Bray Wyatt after that, a little bit of payback from last week. And then Seth Rollins hits the ring. And then Rollins chases off Samoa Joe. And Roman Reigns drops Bray Wyatt with a Superman punch. And Rollins and Reigns stand in the ring and stare down Joe and Wyatt at ringside. We then see Reigns telling Rollins backstage that he doesn't need his help, and Seth Rollins says he wasn't there for Roman, he was there for Samoa Joe. Kurt Angle walks in and books them in a tag match against Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt later tonight in the main event, and then the Drifter, Elias Sampson, walks in, and Kurt Angle books him in his first match against Dean Ambrose tonight. Not long after that, we had Akira Tozawa defeating Araya Daivari. This is kind of a nothing match. I don't know. Sometimes the way they book these cruiserweights, it doesn't really hold my attention. And this particular match here, it was just a showcase for Akira Tozawa, and there's nothing wrong with it necessarily, but it was just your standard cruiserweight match on Raw, so it wasn't anything to write home about. After that, we had Sasha Banks doing an interview backstage saying she's going to win tonight and get away from Alicia Fox. Alicia and Noam Dar walk in, and they have a brief exchange with Sasha, and Sasha gets in their faces, and they back off. This was, again, kind of silly, where it's just like, it looked like Alicia Fox and Noam Dar were just standing off to the side of the interview and just waiting for their cue to come in and talk to them. It just seemed... It's rather cheesy. It's WWE interviews, and I really wish they'd figure out a better way of doing this where it doesn't look so hokey. Then after that, we had Elias Sampson in his first match against Dean Ambrose. He defeated Dean Ambrose via disqualification, actually, which, it kind of set up Elias Sampson, the Drifter, as kind of like this guy who may just, win by default here, not actually getting the win, but actually falling backwards into it, because The Miz got in the ring here as him and Maurice were doing commentary, and he just hits Elias Sampson to cost Dean Ambrose the match. And then afterwards, Dean Ambrose chases Miz down around the ring, but Elias Sampson makes the save and drops Ambrose with a swinging reverse neckbreaker for the end of the segment. So in a way, it got Elias Sampson over here on his debut match a little bit, and I thought Elias Sampson actually looked okay. Before the match, obviously, Elias started to sing, and I thought that just sounded absolutely horrible. The crowd turned on it so fast. It was the funniest thing ever. And it was kind of weird, too, because it seemed like the crowd was a little bit into the fact that he was going to have his first match. I think it was because they were thinking, okay, great, we're going to be the ones to be here in the crowd when he has his first debut match. And, of course, as soon as he started singing, they just totally turned on him. It was hilarious. After that, we had Enzo Amore backstage, had been attacked, and he's down and unconscious on the floor, where Big Cass freaks out as the referee checks on Enzo. Medics check on Enzo, who say he doesn't know who attacked him, and they help Enzo away, and Kurt Angle promises they'll get to the bottom of it, and Big Cass says to Angle he should hope that he finds out who it is before Cass finds him. After that, we had Finn Balor come out to the ring and says it sounds like the Balor Club is there, and we have our hands full with a 5-way match in Extreme Rules. Balor is quickly interrupted by Brock Lesnar's advocate, Paul Heyman, who introduces himself and says he's here to scout potential victims for his client, Brock Lesnar. He basically runs down that everybody in the Extreme Rules match, or at the Fatal 5-Way, is going to be Brock's victim, except for possibly Finn Balor, and he says he doesn't see Balor as a victim or an underdog, and Heyman calls him the most talented in-ring performer in WWE today. I can agree with Paul Heyman to a degree here. There's a few guys on the roster I really like. Finn Balor is one of them here. He says he's most intrigued by the possibility of Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor for the Universal title, and to be quite honest, so am I. I said last week I feel like Finn Balor has the most claim to this opportunity against Brock Lesnar because, as Finn has stated, he did not technically lose that championship. He was injured and had to vacate the title. So I feel like he has, the right to this match. But hopefully at Extreme Rules he will win and prove me right. Balor says he's going to win at Extreme Rules and go on to beat Lesnar for the Universal title. And then Carl Anderson's music interrupts, and we have a match between him and Finn Balor. So Carl Anderson and Finn Balor then have a pretty much another standard Raw match. The ending saw Balor hit the sling blade and a drop kick, and Balor goes up top and hits the coup de grace for the win. It was just kind of another showcase for Finn Balor here. I like that they did push him. They gave him a clean win over a club member here, and it wasn't anything to write home about. Again, it's just your typical week-to-week match. That's one of the things I don't like about Raw right now. It's just kind of every week the matches are the same. They don't ever do a whole lot special. Every now and then you'll get that lightning in a bottle, so to speak. But here lately it's just kind of been your standard week-to-week. And granted, it's that time of year where things kind of happen like that. But after that, we had Kalisto and Apollo Crews were seen backstage talking to each other when Titus O'Neil interrupts. Titus tries to recruit Kalisto to the Titus brand, but then suggests Crews versus Kalisto tonight. Crews seems to agree and walks off. Then we had Sasha Banks defeating Alicia Fox pretty much clean, getting her win back from last week where Alicia beat her clean. And then after the match, she slapped Noam Dar, and then Alicia Fox beat her up for slapping her boyfriend, and that was just kind of that. It just looks like they're going to further this feud a little bit here. We may get a pay-per-view match at Extreme Rules between the two. I don't know where they're going with this necessarily other than to maybe, Sasha Banks is just kind of off to the side at the moment, maybe waiting for her championship opportunity coming down the line here, maybe against Alexa Bliss or Bayley. There may be even a heel turn involved for Sasha Banks going into SummerSlam this summer. Then we cut to a Shattered Dreams production with Goldust cutting a promo about gold never wearing or rusting. He says he's back in the director's chair and he controls when R-Truth's film will end. He says the golden age is back and finishes up an old school style Goldust promo. I was so thrilled to see this. Like I said last week, I think Goldust, I hope he gets one more good run here. I loved his character from back in the Attitude Era. This is exactly what he used to do here, talking about the director and being the movie persona, so to speak. And I really liked Goldust going back to his roots here a little bit, and I hope he brings that vicious side to him in the ring. And granted, this is a PG era, so it's going to be kind of hard for him to do the mannerisms and some of the stuff he used to do on the edgy side of things back in the day. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with this, but I'm excited to see what Dustin Runnels here has in store for his Goldust character. Then we had Alexa Bliss doing an interview backstage where she says Bayley won't be able to get Extreme at Extreme Rules. She says she's going to beat Mickie James tonight like she's going to do to Bayley at Extreme Rules. Again, just kind of your standard, backstage segment. Again, it's just kind of, I don't know. Something about these backstage segments just really didn't sit well with me tonight. I don't know what it was. It's just something kind of out there about them. Then we had Kalisto defeating Apollo Crews. Basically, Crews keeps Kalisto grounded early on and hits the suplex for a 2 count. Then Titus shouts instructions very, very, very loudly from ringside and distracts Apollo Crews, which leads to Kalisto dropping Crews and getting the pinfall victory. Then Titus gets in Apollo's face after the match, and Apollo Crews looks confused. This storyline is death right now. I mean, it's something about Titus O'Neil. Just he's got a good look. He can't really wrestle or cut promos very well, but I did like the fact that on the outside of the ring when he was yelling at Apollo Crews, that kind of reminded me of the old Jimmy Hart days with the the bullhorn and things like that. So I always thought that was a kind of a nice little touch here. So in a way, I don't mind Titus as a manager, but as a wrestler, they just need to keep him away from that. But I just don't think this union here with Apollo Crews is working. But if you give Titus O'Neil the right guy to manage, I think it could work very well actually. Then we had Matt Hardy versus Sheamus, where Matt Hardy defeated Sheamus. Cesaro tried sneaking up behind Matt, but Jeff runs up on the apron and jumps on Cesaro to make the save. Then Matt rolls back in the ring and hits the Twist of Fate on Sheamus for the win. Yeah, after the match, Matt and Jeff choose their stipulation for the tag title match at Extreme Rules, and Matt Hardy announces that their match with Sheamus and Cesaro will be a steel cage match. This kind of took me off guard a little bit. I kind of figured since it was the Hardys, it was more likely definitely going to be a ladder match, but maybe the one-on-one ladder match that they did not get at WrestleMania. So I thought that might have been the way they were going to go, but we'll see what they do with a steel cage match. I'm sure the Hardys can get just as extreme with that sort of a match as well, so I can't wait to see where that goes. I'm kind of thinking the Hardys will probably keep the titles here, but we'll see where they go. After that, we had Austin Aries against Tony Nese. Austin Aries basically, drops Nese down to the match and flips him over to lock in the last chancery for the win via submission. And apparently this is going to set up the Cruiserweight Championship match between Austin Aries and Neville in a submission match at the pay-per-view. Then after the match, Neville was not pleased, and he beats down Tony Nese for losing, and then Neville puts Tony Nese in the Rings of Saturn, which was kind of funny. Austin Aries was on the ramp just, clapping and saying, "Do that to me, let's see if you can do that to me." He was just like, "I ain't gonna go help this guy." It was kind of hilarious to see Tony Nese just helpless as all could get out here in the middle of the ring. But then Alexa Bliss is seen getting ready for her non-title matchup next, and then she defeated Mickie James. She hits a DDT for the win after a very, very short match here. After the bell, Alexa grabs a kendo stick because she's going to lay a beat down to send that statement to Bayley, and she hits Mickie with it in the back, much like she did Bayley last week. And then Bayley comes out for the save and chases off Alexa. And then Bayley helps Mickie to the back. Again, it was just kind of setting up the feud going forward here for Extreme Rules in a couple weeks or so. And it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Like I said, most of the time with these items on a pole match or whatever, more often than not, both people in the match usually end up using it on each other. It's just usually the whole rule is supposed to be the first person gets to use it, but that never goes the way it's supposed to. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, and I like to see these two girls. It sounds like they're going to beat the heck out of each other. And then we had the main event. We had Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt defeating Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Reigns goes for a Superman punch on Samoa Joe in the very end here, and Samoa Joe sidesteps it, and Reigns accidentally pulls up. Actually, he doesn't punch Seth Rollins, but he ends up look like he headbutts him, and so that does not set well with Seth Rollins, and he's not happy about that. And so they kind of get in a bit of a shouting match, and Bray Wyatt pulls Roman Reigns out to ringside, and Joe runs up behind Rollins in the ring and locks in the Coquina clutch, and then Rollins passes out cold, and the ref calls for the bell. Joe and Bray Wyatt exchange words in the ring after the match as Kurt Angle watches on a monitor backstage, and then Finn Balor approaches Kurt Angle and asks for a match next week, and Kurt Angle says Balor will take on Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt in a triple threat match, but he actually called Finn Balor Finn Balor, or Finn Balor or whatever. It was just like, come on, Kurt. I mean, this is kind of what happens when you script old school wrestlers like Kurt Angle, who didn't really have to use a script way back in the day, and he's not used to it, so he forgets his lines, and he apparently forgot Finn Balor's name here. Then Angle also books Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns for next week and says, "Damn, I'm a great GM." But he almost even screwed that line up. He almost said that he was going to book one of the two guys, Joe or Wyatt, in that match too, but then he quickly corrected himself and said he was going to book Rollins versus Reigns. So it was just a little bit of a weird ending to it. Just an okay show. It wasn't anything really, like I said, to get super excited about. If you missed it, it's not that big of a deal. I'm sure they'll catch you up on it next week. But what did you guys think of Monday Night Raw? I just thought it was kind of meh this week, but I'm more looking forward to SmackDown tomorrow to see how the new WWE champion with the Maharaja of Jinder Mahal is going to go with his celebration. But let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you thought of Monday Night Raw. Did you think it was a good show? Did you think it was horrible trash? Or what did you think it was? I mean, it was just, I don't know. It was just not a very good week in my opinion. So we'll be back next week with another Raw recap, and I'll be back tomorrow for more shows right here on my YouTube channel, The Jailcast. Subscribe now. Well, that'll just about do it for me, everybody. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel right here by clicking this round logo right here. Please click on that and subscribe for more trailer reactions, movie reviews, movie news, NFL recap shows, and WWE professional wrestling shows. I'll be going over all those shows, and you can check them out right here on the channel. Also, you can find me on my Facebook and Twitter at facebook.com/Jailcast or on Twitter at EricJail. So until next time, as always, God bless.